The little swallow was eager to reach Egypt. He longed for the warm sun and the company of his friends. He had already said goodbye to the happy prince. He was ready for his journey. "Please," the prince pleaded, "will you stay just one more night? There is a poor woman in the city below. Her little boy is very ill and he is thirsty. Take the ruby from my sword and give it to her." The swallow felt a pang of sympathy for the prince. He saw the genuine care in the prince's eyes. "It will be very cold tonight," he chirped hesitantly. Despite his desire to leave, the swallow couldn't resist the prince's plea. He knew he couldn't leave the prince in his time of need. He decided to stay for just one more night. The swallow carefully took the ruby in his beak. He soared high above the city, his little heart heavy with the weight of the precious stone. As he flew, he saw the city lights twinkling below. He saw the river, a silver ribbon winding its way through the city. He saw the grand houses with their brightly lit windows. He saw the dark alleys where shadows danced. Finally, he found the poor woman's house. She was hunched over her son, her face etched with worry. The swallow gently placed the ruby on the table beside her. The swallow returned to the happy prince. He told him about the woman and her sick child. He described how grateful the woman was for the ruby. The prince listened intently. A gentle smile touched his lips. "It is good to help those in need," he said. The swallow snuggled close to the prince's feet. The night was cold, but the swallow felt a strange warmth. It was the warmth of knowing he had done something good. At daybreak, the swallow flew down to the river for a bath. He splashed in the cool water, feeling refreshed and happy. As the swallow preened his feathers, he thought about his friends in Egypt. He imagined them basking in the warm sun, feasting on sweet figs. A wave of longing washed over him. He returned to the prince. "I must be on my way now," he chirped, trying to sound cheerful. "Just one more day," the prince pleaded. "There is a young writer in the city. He is cold and hungry, and his fingers are blue with cold. Take one of my sapphire eyes and give it to him." The swallow's heart sank. He didn't want the prince to be without his eye. He didn't want to see the prince suffer. "But you will be blind," the swallow protested, his voice trembling. "How will you see?" "It is better to see with one's heart than with one's eyes," the prince said gently. "Please, little swallow, do this for me." The swallow couldn't refuse. He carefully removed the sapphire from the prince's eye. It was as blue as the summer sky, and it sparkled even in the dim light. He flew through the city, following the prince's instructions. He found the young writer huddled in a cold attic. The swallow left the sapphire on the writer's desk. When he returned to the prince, the swallow was heartbroken. He couldn't bear the thought of leaving the prince now, blind and alone. The prince, sensing the swallow's sorrow, smiled reassuringly. "Don't be sad, little friend," he said. "You have brought joy to those who needed it most." That night, the swallow decided to stay with the prince. He nestled close to the prince's heart, keeping him warm. He told him stories of the distant lands he had seen. The swallow knew he would never see the warm sun of Egypt. But he also knew he had found something far more precious, a true friend.